Good day and welcome back to another DBZ Dokkan battle video. In this video we're going to be taking a look at just how good the physical DFE Radditz is in DBZ Dokkan battle. So we're going to be taking a look at just how good Radditz is. Obviously he is a Saiyan Saga or a pure Saiyan's lead, almost said Super Saiyan, of 170%, and he gives an additional attack and defense of HP and 30%. 4 characters also belong to the Space Traveling Warriors category. So it's a pretty decent leader skill. It covers a lot of Vegetas, Nappas, Radditzes, Bardoks, Team Bardock units, and it also covers, obviously all the pure Saiyans pretty much, just not all of them are Space Traveling Warriors. But it's a pretty decent leader skill. I think it's really strong. He greatly raises attack and defense for 1 turn on his super attack, and he has attack and defense of 150% plus an additional attack and defense of 50% when performing a super attack if facing only one enemy. And if that enemy is 50% or less in terms of HP, then you will get an additional attack of 100% with a high chance of performing a critical hit. He also is guaranteed a critical hit within the same turn after receiving an attack, plus an additional defense of 150% when facing 2 or more enemies. He has Ki +2 for the rest of combat after delivering a final blow. He has an active skill which greatly raises his attack temporarily and causes ultimate damage and stuns the enemy for 1 turn. It can be activated when facing only one enemy after the character has received an attack 3 or more times in battle. He has the same lineage, same warrior race, Coward, Brutal Beatdown, Nightmare, Prepared for Battle, and Fierce Battle as his links. And he has low class warriors, pure Saiyans, Goku's family, Terrifying Conquerors, Space Traveling Warriors, and Saiyan Saga as his categories. So overall, Radditz looks very interesting. Obviously a lot of conditional parts to his passive, but I think overall we should be able to see a pretty good showing from him. We'll be looking at him at 55% in the hidden potential system, so that is with no dupes, and we'll be seeing just how well he does as a leader of the team, and then also under another leader as well. So it's going to be pretty interesting to see just how well Radditz does. Obviously we are going to be using him as a friend lead, so we're not going to be able to see him under a 200% leader skill, at least not right off the bat, but we should be able to get a pretty good idea of how well he's going to do and what his numbers are going to look like when he performs. Now this is a pre-Easy Aid AGL tier list, before anyone's wondering what's going up with that attack stat. Filmed all this footage before the Easy Aid tier list, which does actually help Radditz. They are on a lot of categories: low class warriors, pure Saiyans, terrifying conquerors. So that was a buff to Radditz. So here we're facing multiple enemies. We have 171,000 defense. It's pretty good. Defense will go up upon the super attack as well. But that's a pretty good starting defense, especially considering the fact that this is a unit with no dupes, and there's no support on the rotation either. Now because Radditz also took a hit there, but he's also guaranteed an AoE critical hit here. It is very important to note that Radditz is an AoE unit, so when measuring his damage it is important, like okay, it's 1.5 million, he will do more damage to a single target enemy, plus also this is guaranteed crits, so 1.5 million guaranteed AoE crits is pretty good, especially with no support as a 55% unit. 100% Radditz with some support will probably be hitting almost a 3 million. Especially with Linga level 10s, probably almost a 3 million attack stat, guaranteed crit AoE, which is really solid actually, especially considering that the requirement to get the critical hit's not that bad. 171k defense and 55% is actually pretty solid, a starting defense. It's up there with some of the higher units, and yeah, just really isn't that bad in a defensive stat, if I'm honest. Here we're obviously facing one enemy. He has support on the rotation. You're going to see that the defense does come down, because obviously a portion of our defense is now only going to actually activate when we fire our super attack. So Radditz, when he's facing one enemy, he gains an additional attack and defense of 50%. Now this is multiplicative, So when put together, it gives him a total boost of 275% to his defense. So his defense will shoot up quite a bit. It'll be almost the same as his defense would be if, with the double defense. So, and you can see the damage went up a lot, almost 3 million as well. So a very, very solid attack stat by Radditz there. And yeah, just overall looking pretty solid. Obviously shares quite a few links here. We managed to get 5 links active. We've got support on the rotation. But it really wasn't that bad for 55%. So yeah, overall he looks pretty decent. I wouldn't say he's spectacular. I think a lot of his kit is conditional. And I think that's where it becomes a bit of a hindrance for a lot of people that are trying to use the unit. I think when you are using a unit and a lot of their passive or a lot of their, highest levels of power is hidden behind conditionals, I think generally speaking, it causes a bit of disappointment in the unit. Now for me, I think Radditz is okay. I actually think he is okay. I don't think he's a spectacular DFE, but I actually think his kit follows pretty good kind of design philosophy. Radditz as a unit, honestly speaking,
alright, let's do this,
is pretty well designed based on the character. He has additional defense when he's facing 2 enemies, just like when he looked impenetrable facing Goku and Piccolo. He has increased damage when his enemies are low on health. It's very similar to him being a coward by nature, always picking on the enemies when they're down, picking on Goku or Gohan as a kid, I should say. So yeah, generally speaking, I think his design philosophy kind of follows the right principles. I think for the most part, he is well designed. I think it's maybe not a design everyone's happy with, but I think he is well designed to represent a character. And I think, yes, he's a unit that definitely benefits from dupes, a lot of people do, but I don't think he's that bad. After Super, he's close to 200k defense. I think that's pretty decent. In terms of like his build, you do have the ability to go for a more additional orientated build because of the fact that he does have crits for the majority of the time. I mean, if you look at him, he technically crits 50% of the time because he will crit or have a high chance of critting when the enemy is below 50% health. So he pretty much crits for half of the battle, and usually in a pretty crucial time as well. So you can kind of build into additionals, which I think is good. It also works for his, facing 2 or more enemies. He's guaranteed a crit if he gets hit beforehand. So giving him additionals means you're getting the potential ability to have additional AoE crits. So generally speaking, AoE or additionals is a pretty decent build for him. That way he gets 2 stacks of greatly stacking attack and defense as well, which is pretty decent. It means that he's going to be increasing his defense by 50% twice, which is pretty solid. Means that he'll probably be going from, in this case scenario, 180k defense to being around close to almost the 300k mark once he fires off those 2 additional super attacks. It's just a very, very solid kind of presentation. At least that's what I think overall. I think that's pretty decent from him. And then I think other than that, I like his kit. Active skills pretty useful. Leader skills pretty decent. Is he a 9 out of 10 unit? Definitely not. And I think the issue with Radditz is that everyone was assuming because he's not a super popular character, or he's not a super long-term character or big-name character, that he was going to be made broken like Ginyu, and I think that's where he falls down. Here we can see him in a pretty good scenario, by the way. No support or anything, but he's got 4 links active. He's going to look pretty decent. 2.2 million against. It's not bad. It's a decent attack stat. And his defense after supering will be over the 200k mark, which is also pretty decent. So yeah, for me, I think Radditz is fine. I think he's okay. I think if you're a fan of Radditz, you're going to summon on him anyway. And I think if a new player, like a brand new player, getting a character with a pure Saiyan's leader skill that does AoE damage, that has good defense against multiple enemies, that has a active skill is a pretty good pickup. At least from my perspective, I think that's a very, very solid pickup. So yeah, for me, I'm more than happy with how things have turned out, and I think Radditz is solid. I'm going to give him a 6.5, 7 out of 10. Like I said, I don't think he's going to burst the bank. I think with dupes, he's way more valuable than without. I think it really improves his multiple enemy defense. I think it really improves his defense after super. And I think his damage can look really impressive when the enemy is below that 50% mark. And you're going to see that here. We are going to see Radditz activate his attack damage when an enemy is below 50%. And you'll see that it is actually very impressive. It is a very, very decent attack stat. Obviously, we have some support on the rotation here as well, which is always great. You can see defense-wise, we're still seeing that 110, 120k mark. And yeah, we're going to see a very, very good attack stat here from Radditz. So for me, I'm very happy with his overall performance. I do think he's a step below some of the other DFEs, but I think his leader skill makes up for it, his active skill makes up for it, and I think his AoE also really helps him out a lot. I think a lot of people put him in bad situations, but if you put him in his good situations, he looks really, really solid. It's just the kind of unit that he is. He can range from looking pretty mediocre to looking incredibly impressive, and I think there are units like that in the game, and I think the game is better for them than it is without them. I personally do enjoy having units that are usable in a lot of situations, and I also enjoy having units that are peculiarly good in certain situations. You'll never know when you'll probably use Radditz, and when you do use them, when those situations do line up in that stage, where you do need that damage, when you do need that defense, when you need that active skill, it's all going to count for you, and you're going to really appreciate what he does. So yeah, obviously in terms of links, he's Saiyan Lineage, Saiyan Warrior Race, Coward, Brutal Beatdown, Nightmare, Prepared for Battle, and Fierce Battle. Generally speaking, link-wise, only Saiyan Lineage is a decent one to focus on. Prepared for Battle and Fierce Battle are also decent because, Pure Saiyans is obviously a pretty strong category. Saiyan Warrior Race is attack of 10%. Coward is 2 key and a chance of performing a critical, but it's just very uncommon to get the Coward link active. Brutal Beatdown is a very strong attacking link, but yeah, generally you're going to have a decent time if you combine the Saiyan Lineage, Saiyan Warrior Race, Fierce Battle, Prepared for Battle. You'll get 4 decent links that give you a little bit of a defensive boost, but predominantly give you a decent attack boost and some decent key. If you're going to focus on anything else, Nightmare, Brutal Beatdown are not really links that are necessarily worth it. You get pretty much the exact same from Saiyan Warrior Race, so there's no real need to get them. And Coward, it's a key link, it helps out, but the majority of units that have Coward aren't really units you're going to run alongside Radditz on his team. Like maybe a couple Terrifying Conquerors units have it. You've got units like the Bojack, for example. But generally speaking, there's not a lot of units that I would say who run Coward or are units that you're going to use it successfully on. In terms of his best linking partner, it is probably this Master Saiyan unit. I think obviously it's a very, very good linking partner with him, 5 links. But he also shares 4 links with the giant ape Radditz, who's also a very, very good unit. So yeah, they're a very decent pairing. With Turles, he actually shares a couple of links as well. Saiyan Warrior Race, Prepared for Battle, Fierce Battle, Saiyan Lineage. And that's all pretty nice to pick up as well, because I think Turles got a pretty strong easy A as a unit. He also provides a lot of support to Radditz, and yeah, generally speaking, they're a nice combination to kind of run together. You get a lot out of it. Saiyan Warrior Race, Prepared for Battle, Brutal Beatdown, Fierce Battle. It's decent links. It's not the greatest. Turles would be better off linking with other Turles, but it's fine. But yeah, that's pretty much it for everything you need to know about Radditz. Let me know what you guys think in the comments down below, and if you've enjoyed the video, leave a like on it, and I will see you guys in the next one. But until then, take care, stay safe, and I will see you guys in the next video. Bye.